Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for a bench press day, and I pretty much did what said I was going to do last time. I came in and did a 5x5 bench, 5x5 incline. Although I wanted to start doing my pull-ups weighted, because I've realized, look, if I'm going to chase the heavier weights, I've already shown I can do the volume. I'm really happy with the volume last time because I did 100 pull-ups, 100 body weight pull-ups. So I'm like, let's work on doing them weighted, and let's start working pull-ups and chins in, because the topic came up of, hey, are you worried about overuse? I'm like, I'm really not. But if I'm going to do that much volume, I should probably work a couple angles. Let's work on my biceps a little, because biceps need to be a big priority right now. All right, the first set, I grabbed a 45. I thought I'd be able to get 5. I got 4 reps, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to do this for a 5x5. There's no way. Not right now. In time, I will. And let's set that as a goal. So I dropped it down to 25 for all my subsequent sets. And every one of those I left a rep in the tank. So I was happy with that. The benching, all of this went pretty good. I got all my 5s till I got to the last set. You guys see me kick my leg up on the 4th rep and rack it. So when I get there, I had a hamstring cramp. And I think what people need to remember, the way that I train with stuff, because I lock everything in so tight, all my exercises are really a full body exercise. And I think there's something to be said for that. There's a reason I got my deadlift so strong. There's a reason my posterior chain got so jacked off all the deadlifting and other stuff, because I've learned to do that. And I think what I'm going to do, I took that same approach to benching a little bit while back while bulking, and that's how I got my bench so high, treating it like I did my deadlift. That's how I got the bench up. And you think you guys know where I'm going with this. I'm going to have to start treating my bench like that again, and I'm going to start treating my biceps like that, my curls like that. Okay? I've got to treat the bench like that again. What does that mean? That means by me doing all these 5s and things, here's one of the big perks that we have. I can focus on every single rep. I can brace my whole body as tight as possible. I can squeeze the hell out of everything. I can focus and concentrate on every single rep, producing force. All right, I want to recruit those deep muscle fibers. That is the only downside I find with the 10s. It works great, but the problem is I do feel like there's a lot of warm-up reps. There's a lot of warm-up reps. And it's harder to keep the focus for the long sets. When I'm doing what I'm doing now, I can focus on every rep, just squeezing and locking everything in, stretching the muscles, getting into those stretch positions, getting the pauses in, making every single rep count, feeling every single last rep. And that's one of the things I'm getting out of this too. So I'm able to just squeeze my chest and contract my chest every rep of the benching. I come down, I pause on all of it. I want to stretch those pecs, and then I explode and squeeze my pecs as hard as I can on every rep on the way up. Okay? So again, everything gets locked in tight though. Everything gets locked in tight. And I'm really feeling a ton of chest, and it's the same on the incline. I'm trying to do the same on the incline. Again, blow the chest up, blow my biceps up. So the pull-ups and stuff, I'm doing a lot of that too, except on the pull-ups, I'm really focused on the back. The chin-ups, I'm doing back and biceps. And I do feel arms quite a bit on the pull-ups, by the way. I feel a lot of the tricep long head too. But again, it's trying to get that bottom. What I'm trying to do is spread those lats, stretch the lats, and then squeeze them as I'm going up. I'm trying to focus on those lats as hard as I can. I'm squeezing the bar on everything as hard as I possibly can too. Again, not using the wrist wraps anymore. I've got to do that. So again, what I'm doing with all this is using that neural drive that I have for everything to recruit as many muscle fibers as possible. So my goal when I'm doing a 5x5, you guys saw me do that because my hamstring cramped. It's that left one. Hit that left one. But these 5s were not bad. So once I went down to the 25, these went pretty good. And I want to build all these up. Now the chin-ups were easier. I did notice that immediately. As soon as I went over to chins, they felt easier. I probably could have handled a hair more weight. So for chin-ups, I may need to go to a heavier weight quicker. But I'm doing the pull-ups first, fatigue them first. And I think we see there with the belt on what I mean by once I tighten up that low back and burn all the fat in the loose skin. You got to burn the fat, then the loose skin tightens up more. When I have the belt on from behind, that gives a better idea. Well, the lifting belt there, right? The whatever we call it, the dipping belt, right? Gives a better idea of what that will look like. And I'll burn it off. I'm going to keep cutting, keep trimming the body fat down, keep focusing on getting jacked. But I'm trying to work every muscle, you know. And the other thing is I'm picking exercises that are efficient, that get all these stuff from the different angles that I want. But I'm also focusing on using my whole body on them for neural drive, meaning I feel my hamstrings on a curl. I feel my glutes on a curl. And that's what I want to do, but I'm really hammering the biceps. Like I want to feel them every rep contract as hard as they can. The same thing I do with my hamstrings and glutes on a deadlift. When I get to a curl, that's what I want to do. Incline bench, kind of the same here. I am focusing on that chest. I need bigger pecs. Let's just call it like it is. That's what started making my bench go up later, was really focusing on the chest. I just need to build my chest up. I'll get to that 405 bench eventually. But I feel like I'm not going to worry about the singles for a bit anyways. If I can get a 5x5 315, I'm in a good place. I can do it with 275 if I don't get a hamstring cramp. All right, but here are the chins. Yeah, these were definitely easier. So I'm trying to take these down, and it's funny on camera because I'm taking them down as far as I possibly can. See, I'm hanging there. That's a loose stretch for me. The shoulder mobility is improved, but it's not perfect. But the thing is, I'm going to go to the fullest range of motion that I can. So that means a stretch, and a lot of those it's a swing because I'm completely stretched. And so then you just kind of swing. That's what happens. But I'm going to keep doing that. But the pullovers over time, I'm going to keep working on and keep working on and keep working on. And all that stuff's going to be stretch stuff. Again, keep opening all of that up. All right, keep opening it all up and doing everything through the fullest range of motion that I can do and continuing to do stretch stuff. But that'll do it too. As long as I go into those dead hangs on the pull-ups and chin-ups, it will get looser and looser at the bottom over time. I'll get into the deeper and deeper stretches, and when that happens, my back and biceps will grow even faster. But that is what we're trying to do. It's like, yes, we want everything to be heavy. We want to add tension, but we want to do it right. We want to put that tension through the longest ranges of motion we can. That's why I'm benching mostly flat back. That's why I'm picking a grip that lets me get the deepest stretch, which is, you know, right real close to pinkies on rings on both these movements. And that stretch is defined by the elbows going as low as possible, right? We're taking the joint into the deepest stretch. So notice that we want the lowest angle possible with the upper arm, right? So the elbows need to go as low as they can. So I'm pausing on all of these. When I got to the last rep of these two, I haven't done 5 sets of incline in workouts. This is new to me. The 5th set, I racked it on rep 4. I was worried I was going to get pinned if I went for a 5th. So I want to build that up. I want to get up to the 225 for 5x5. But here are the chins. I'm trying to, since the chins were easier, I'm definitely focusing on those hangs more. I want to stretch everything as far as I can. And I'm aware that some people are like, well, I can stretch more than that. I'm like, I'm happy for you. I want to get there. But that literally is a dead hang. It'll improve. I'll keep working on it. You know, but that's the only thing that will do it. You just keep doing it. And then doing the other stuff like the pullovers, because the pullovers got me there. Someone had asked, you know, what about your shoulders with all that? They've been great. That's been the point of it. I didn't start doing them until I knew I could do it pain-free. Now I'm doing those sort of volumes. But the other thing, I'm not doing it daily. When I also had some lead overuse, I also had the mobility problems, and I was doing them every day. They weren't getting a break. I'm only doing these 2 days a week. And yes, it's a lot. I mean, it ends up being, at this point now, 20 sets of pull-ups and chin-ups total per week. But it's only on 2 days, so we have time to recover. All right, curls. The first set went sloppy on this. I'm like, let me do these on a 5x5 like Ranch Park. I didn't get the right grip. It wasn't the best angle. So I'm going to treat curls like I did my deadlift. I'm going to find the angles that let me really, really hit those biceps to where I feel my biceps. I can get good performance, get stronger, and I feel the biceps contract extremely hard. So that's what I'm trying to do. The first set was sloppy, and I realized, okay, that grip wasn't right. I need to bring it in a hair. Pullovers, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. I'm just going to keep focusing on the stretch more and more. I'm not going to focus on trying to add more weight for a while. I want to keep focusing on that range of motion, range of motion, range of motion. This is my finesse movement. Also, the topic of triceps. You know, I had said this stuff, and then it was interesting, and I don't always like Dr. Mike, but he pointed out some physiology. Someone linked it to me, and, or I was doing a search, an article he actually wrote. He actually said kind of the same thing, that if you do enough back work, a lot of your lat work, particularly stuff that puts you into the overhead, will work the long head. It's like pullovers will work the long head. So that may handle that. You may not need to worry about it with your other tricep stuff. So that's going to be the game here. We know the lateral and head and all of that is getting worked on the benching. My long head's getting worked for 30 sets a week if we count the pull-ups, the chin-ups, and the pullovers as long head. There's a point where I look at that and go, I don't know that it needs more. I just need to keep doing those things and let it grow. Because we're doing 20 sets of heavy pressing now. I think this is a lot of tricep work. I feel like sometimes I'd overdo the small movements, and it hasn't worked that well. Instead, I need to be focusing on quality big movements. So the pullovers, I'm focused on the stretch, but the curls, what am I doing? I'm going to treat my curls like I do my deadlift. Get in, get those leverages, and if I'm doing fives, I can focus on every rep. All right, I'm getting into that position to where I'm not using the forearm because I'm cocking the wrist back, going to the bottom, and trying to feel my biceps and really focus the same way I get aggressive into the deadlift. Aggressive not as in an angry, aroused state, but it is a case of hammering it like a performance movement. But I'm really hammering, feeling those biceps stretch at the bottom. I'm fighting it on the way down into the stretch, even though it's not, because it's a bit of a power curl, and coming all the way up to the top. But as I'm coming up, I am trying to contract my bicep as hard as I can on every rep. And then I'm fighting it on the eccentric, even though it's a little heavy, so therefore it's a fast eccentric. I am fighting that. But I'm trying to find those ideal leverages to work it in so that I can leverage the bicep as hard as I can against the bar, just like I do my glutes and hamstrings on the deadlift, which is how I got to a 635. But notice it's about range of motion. I am going all the way to the lockout, leaning forward to make sure that I can lock it, just like I'm doing that on the chin-ups. So the end game of that is, let's really hammer my biceps, just like I'm really hammering my chest and other stuff. So I am focused on both trying to get stronger at this and feeling and contracting the biceps. I want them to stretch at the bottom, and I'm trying to squeeze them as hard as I possibly can on the way up. And again, I'm going to try to get stronger at this. I want to get that to where I can do a full plate and get it to my face like that for my fives. But again, I felt a lot of bicep activation. And that's one of the problems I run into with some of the pump work and some of the smaller movements. I just don't feel the biceps. And I said on the other power curls is really where I feel them the most. But I also feel them on this. But I've got to get enough weight. It feels almost like without the eccentric loading, I don't feel my biceps. So just like I've got that great connection with things like my back, with like my hamstrings, I'm going to focus on developing that in the biceps. All right? And we'll see if we can build some guns. I mean, this is a lot of bicep work at this point. It's a lot of full range of motion bicep work. You know, pull-ups, then chin-ups, and the curls. All right? We're going to see if we can do this like I've done with stuff like my lower body and back that everyone's so impressed with. Let's build some big arms, right? Why not? All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.